ni sawa kusema hauko sawa.
So we're just gonna like throw a few questions to the group, and we can just talk about it, have some discussions, see uh, what's a stigma, what's something that actually exists for you, what is like how it is and how it feels to actually be in a certain space as a man. Yeah. So because of that, our first question is, uh, have you ever felt overwhelmed? Like, do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed? Like there's so much that's happening, and you just don't have the capacity to handle it anymore.
Sure. I've really experienced it so many times, not once. The first one I experienced it after high school. In that case, I had friends, I had a family, and now to the friends hawakuwa wanafanya job. They were not hawakuwa successful, but a job after immediately. So it was just me. So it's me when I'm in school. When I'm at work, they're calling me. Weekends, they want me like, hey bro, nini kanja. So that time pia then with the parents too. Sasa maybe nimepata hapo job ya 3. So say unaamka hivi unaenda job. Kwanza ni asubuhi ngware. Naenda nafika huko pata hapo unakeleleshwa the whole day. At the end of the day unapewa 300. So that 300 ni unarudi na fare. You see? And that time pia umemaliza shule pia unajua sasa start now maybe dating. So you have a girlfriend. So it is so, you feel like it's so expensive for you. Very, very, the world is so hard.
And it sounds like there's expectation, and so that like a follow-up question would be, with all the expectations, do you feel like the expectations are uh, put on you by other people, or are they expectations that you put on yourself? um, would you be able to like talk a little bit more about that?
I think when it comes to expectation, mostly it comes from self. It is it is it is what you tend to feel when things are not going okay. It is the time you want to actually step up and make a move. As a man, it's so natural that it is inside us, and anytime something goes wrong, you will beat yourself up and want to step up and want to take charge and want to be the alpha in everything. And at that particular point is when everything can just be so overwhelming, and you'll feel like the world is crumbling. And even if you choose to tell someone about it, you feel like they won't get it. Yeah, that's it.
Do you guys have like a similar opinion or a different opinion that you would like to share?
Personally, I think I have a different opinion. For my instance, uh, expectations come from outside. Let me give an example. When maybe according to me, about in my scenario, I have siblings who look upon you. So maybe they don't understand what you're going through, but they want you to be okay all the time. So yeah, personally, I think also expectations come from outside you. Yeah.
Okay, and so this brings in like another thought in terms of like what you said, just pulling from what you said about not being able to know for sure if you can actually share or tell someone. So when it comes to trust and confidentiality, how like is that an important thing for you? Like, how do you get to a point where you find someone that you want to share with?
Personally, I would say trust and confidentiality matters a lot, especially when it comes to opening up on some of the challenges you're facing. There's someone you might decide to tell whatever you're going through, and you end up being judged. Instead of getting better, it becomes even worse through what you're experiencing. So personally, when it comes to sharing, I choose I prefer family, and the people have grown knowing they're not only friends, but I consider them as family. So it matters a lot when it comes to that.
And has anyone of you ever shared with someone, like this is a person that you thought you could trust, and then you shared with that person, and like what was the experience? Like, was it a negative experience? Was it a positive experience? How did it go?
Real. Uh, yeah, sharing with people is so, yeah, you share, but unajua response mtu anakupatia ni aje. Unamwambia mzee iko hivi ni hivi, unamwambia wewe ni mwanaume kaa hivyo, like you wonder, hey bro, mwanaume kwani mwanaume afai kupitia hizi vitu? So be like, wewe ni mwanaume wajikaze. So something like, yani una feel like hapana, maybe you're sharing. I remember I shared it with my bro, and be like, hey bro, ni hivyo hivyo, like mimi ni expect maybe ani console something, aniambie kitu tu like, hey bro, chill, shikata hii kitu wewe tulia nayo, but we, it's not chill.
I think just to add on that about confidentiality, most of the time the hardest thing inakuanga choosing the person you actually want to confide in, because for us, for me, we are just bros in the house, and I'll see my older brother going through a lot himself, and most of the time you'll tend to think that if I'm taking all my baggage to this man, yeah, amebeba nini exactly, like what is he going through, so that he can also carry mine as well. So most of the time inakuanga so hard for one to choose whom to confide in, because most men are going through so many things, and if we could just we could just know to whom are we supposed to go tell our things, and these people, how will they carry ours, and they have their own. Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective. To take that into now a more cultural context or perspective, like when it comes to Kenyan culture, um, like what unique challenges do you face as a man when you're trying to confide in someone, when you're trying to tell someone something? Like, what do you think? Like, what challenges do you think are like quite unique to a Kenyan context or a Kenyan culture?
To tackle on that, when I was circumcised, my grandfather was the one who was mentoring me through the process of being a man, how to behave like a man, and mental health wasn't something we were discussing. Yeah, most of the time it was, as a man, well, he used to get so much angry when he finds me in the kitchen with my grandmother. Well, from our community, women belong to the kitchen, men don't. And if he would get me there sitting with my grandmother, he would get so angry, scold me at one point, and we would have so many conversations about land, about cattle, but never a conversation about, when you have a problem as a guy, whom do you come to? And it brings out the sense that the cultural perspective is that I have to do this alone as a man, and as a man, everyone is looking at you. Yeah.
That's interesting. Any other experiences, suggestions from?
To add on what you were saying about the circumcision and all that, when you look at the Kenyan culture, it starts at a young age, especially for the men. For instance, you were saying instances where you're found in the kitchen with maybe your mother, it becomes an issue. It's considered wrong. Sometimes, probably, maybe there are instances where you have an issue. Sometimes you find yourself, you will be more comfortable sharing it to your mom other than your father, which the culture doesn't find it right. How I support. So as much as it's unique, it's personally, I think it messes up. It messes you up. It confuses you in some way, because sometimes there are things you can share with your dad and you don't get the answer you hoped to get, as compared when you share it to your mother. Yeah, that's it.
That's an interesting perspective. So just to piggyback on that concept itself. So how do we now encourage more open conversations, especially among like between men? Because the the style that we're seeing and the pattern that we're seeing here is mainly it's like, oh, you can't talk to your dad or you can't talk to your granddad about certain issues that you're going through because that's just not something that you do. um, like you even said you can't really talk to your brother because you're like yako na shida zake asikizi zangu kwa nini, si ndio? But like, so how do we encourage more open conversations?
Okay, so personally, I think we need to rise up and get to a situation where we ought to embrace all our emotions, be it sadness, be it being overwhelmed, embracing all our emotions in all aspects is what will make us be mentally okay. Yeah.
Adding on Tony is that si kila mtu atapitia nini na aseme. There are many people, mtu ameundwa different, like yeye amezoea kunyamaza, then he'll be fine. So for me, I can say you need just to understand your sibling, understand your bros, understand just people around you, and them to understand you too. Kama unataka kitu, they know. Kama utaki, they should know utaki. Not forcing.
So what kinds of like sayings or phrases or proverbs that do we have in like Kenyan context or culture that you think would be better reframed so as to support mental health? Like for example, like one out of the off the top of my head I hear is when someone says that they have mental health problems and the question is like, ati uko na nini shida za wa una mashida, like if your problems are just mental, yeah, you actually you don't have real problems. Like, so something like that. Like, are there any other phrases or things that we could reframe so as to not make it so stigmatized for men to share and be open?
I think that's a very tough question. A lot is being said about mental health, about men wanting to open up, and even about men actually opening up. But all I can say is men do open up. It's just that we probably don't use the same words everyone can use. And probably some of us have had bad experiences out of us opening up. Like if I come to my group of friends today and tell them that I am heartbroken by a lady, I will receive a lot. Let me tell you, I will receive so many things. But at the end of the day, these guys actually do care. It's just that some of us don't get it, that these guys do care, and we don't have a common language in which we can say this is how we show that we care. Everyone has their own, so we just need to get the language, and my language is we are brave and we are together as men.
Yeah, really nice. Like that. We're brave and we're together. So like you brought in a very interesting concept or perspective here, support systems, right? So do you like you feel like your friends in as much as you come to them with an issue of heartbreak and they'll probably like make fun and laugh at you, but you feel like there's still a support system for you. So for the rest of the group, like what would you consider your support system? So do you even have support system? Do you think you need a support system?
Yeah, I think me I don't have a supportive system. All I can say, we like just have to have them, but we don't have to have them. Hatujui vile unaweza pata hiyo support system, because hakuna mtu anaweza penda call shida zako na yeye pia kuna zake. Yeah.
So I don't know how to say this, but yeah, I have so many friends who bring their issues and problems to me, but I find it difficult to tell them about my issues. I don't know why that happens because they come wananiambia shida zao. uh, I find the best way on how to tackle the issue, give them a piece of advice, yeah, and they probably get back to who they are. But I find it difficult to open up to people. I don't know why that happens, but all in all, I can say we ought to. We ought to have a support system, be it family, be it friends, for the betterment of our mental health. Yes.
Um, just to throw a spanner in your works, Tony, you said your friends come and share with you, but you find it very difficult to share with them. Um, some people might look at that as a very selfish act. What would you say to that? As of that, like some people would look at that and say that's quite selfish because people are being vulnerable and sharing with you, but you're not being vulnerable and sharing with them. You're you want to be the one to help others, but you don't want others to help you. What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's selfish, but it occurs naturally. I don't plan to do so. I just find myself staying with my issues, staying with my problems. But maybe if it's opening up, I open up to a few of them, maybe one or two. But yeah, I find it naturally occurring, not opening up to people. Yes, but it's selfish.
Interesting. So, a question to I'm gonna throw this one smack at Kennedy's face. You're a musician. Would you say that music is a support system? And if it is, like, how does music help you?
Yes, music is a very, very, very huge support system. Uh, there are times, especially when he was talking about heartbreaks, and go and listen to a heartbreak song, probably Adele or something. It gives you some comfort in as much as it pains you more. There's some comfort you get after listening to music, and also singing out sometimes, singing along maybe to the song you're listening to. It's like you're pouring out the kind of emotions you're experiencing at the moment. So I'll say music is a huge support system when it comes to mental health.
Awesome. So you go for specific genres of music when you're feeling a specific kind of way. So that's like, so if I were to look at your playlist, like, do you have like a segmented, like a sadness playlist, happiness playlist, or is it
I don't have
something
a
that?
playlist, but
Mhm.
I know the kind of songs I listen to. I already have them in mind. I know the kind of songs I go to when I'm feeling this kind of way. So they already, but I don't have a playlist.
So you go to the music for comfort.
Yeah.
For example, so you said when you're sad, you go to sad music for comfort. When you're happy, you would go to happy music for comfort. Um, would it be beneficial that if you're sad, you go to happy music for comfort? Would that work?
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm not sure. Maybe it works for other people, and I don't know unless I try it.
Yeah, it's quite understandable. There's a lot of people who listen to music for comfort, and it's like the sad songs. When you're sad, you listen to the sad songs. I believe we call them sad ninja hours. And that's what you're looking at. So it's more in the essence of like hope and healing, right? So you're in that space. Like for you, for all four of you, when you think about it, what would be a message of hope you would tell to other young men like you when it comes to mental health and facing mental health issues?
A message of hope is you're not the only one who's going through what you're going through. You probably know the first one. History has a tendency of repeating itself so many times. If you actually do research and ask people about their lives, you'll get to know that you're probably going through something small, and someone can help you get through what you're going through by some little advice, or even coming through at that particular situation. Yeah, that's the message of hope.
For a message of hope, I think for like wavumilie tu. Yeah, like yeah, for real, like wavumilie tu. It's something coming by time. Certainly something it last, or they're not the first one too. They're not the last one. So ni kitu iko, you just cope up with it. Go as you go. By time things will be. Wanasemanga you have hope for tomorrow, but you don't.
Based on what he said before, what I'll advise the other guys is don't fear to embrace the feeling. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like laughing, laugh. If you feel like speaking out, speak out. Don't fear embracing the emotions. Face it. It might actually help in some instance.
Yeah, so as for me, what I'd say is God is the author of life. And according to Jeremiah 29:11, the Bible says that God has plans for us. And so even when you're going through tough times, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And so it's okay not to be okay. Ipo siku. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Yes.
That's awesome.
Ni sawa kutokuwa sawa.
It's okay not to be okay. That's really nice. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Good.
Agwan. Anemba hapo. Jambo.